So, ever since I was a kid, I dreamed of finding a hidden treasure. I mean, okay, what kid doesn't, right? So, on our recent trip to Italy, like thousands of visitors every year, I had to stop off in Sorrento. Now, don't get me wrong, Sorrento is a pretty awesome place, known for its beautiful streets, food, pottery, and lemons and limoncello, of course, that you can find just about everywhere you go. But just be really careful drinking it. It could sneak up on you. So I didn't quite find the hidden treasure I was hoping to find in Sorrento. However, nestled high in the hills above Sorrento was a place that most tourists have never visited, or even heard of for that matter. And it was there we found a single spot that I may have been waiting a lifetime to find. Now, most of you already know that I'm kind of a fan of out-of-the-way places, and to get to the old hotel that I had booked online, you had to pass through this little hilltop town that I immediately fell in love with. And the little town? It's called San Agata. You're not going to see many tourists here, and if you do, you'll probably find them huddled around the town's little gelato shop at night. Other than that, you'll see the usual locals hanging out here and there throughout the town. But that night, I quickly learned that one of the big happenings in San Agata, and probably most small towns in Italy, is when there's a good soccer match on TV. And here, every single restaurant and bar that you find is filled with the local men watching the game. And they are into it. Everywhere you go, these guys were almost in a trance-like state watching the match. So I guess you could say what you will about organized sports, but in Italy, based on what I've seen in this one of many little towns, it seems that soccer is probably one of the defining mortars that bonds people, and especially the guys, together. So the next morning, it was time to head farther up the hill to where we finally arrived at that old hotel that I found and booked online. And no, I didn't expect this at all. I mean, heck, we're just Midwest kids. We don't stay at places like this. I mean, it just felt so fancy schmancy, so hoity-toity, so White Lotus. Imagine sitting here high above the hills of Sorrento, like a crown jewel. They call it Oasis Olympia. So I guess you could call it an old hotel. It was built in 1892 by, quote, German aristocrat Max Bradmeyer, who was struck by its impressive position and its extraordinary setting. Honestly, I think he just really dug the view. And yeah, so did we. So after checking in, we knew we had to go explore. And there was a lot to see. The entire hotel, for example, is furnished with some of the original furnishings from the 1800s, and there are priceless oil paintings and artwork throughout the hotel. And all the food that is prepared and served at the Oasis is made with vegetables, herbs, and fruit that are grown right there on the property. There's even horses that I had to visit. I mean, I'm pretty sure I speak their language. Farm boy. And the more you explore this little hidden gem that's high in the hills, the better it gets. And the views? Well, Giovanni, the general manager, explained all the different vistas that you can take in from just this one beautiful spot. Giovanni, I mean, come on, this is paradise.
Yes, we are in Santa Agata sui due golfi. That is Santa Agata on the two bays. So we have Naples Bay, Salerno Bay, Sorrento Coast and the Amalfi Coast. Thus you can see all the view, Vesuvius, Naples, Procida, Ischia, Capri Island on your shoulder, and all the Amalfi Coast. on the other side.
So, after spending the day exploring, the sun was just starting to dip into that perfect spot in the sky. And because this was going to be our last night staying here on this beautiful hilltop in Italy, and we'd probably never experience anything quite this cool again anytime soon, Michelle decided that this was a perfect time for a farewell sunset dance. And yeah, I decided to go first to show her how it's done.
Hey! Hey!
All right, obviously that didn't go well. But then, the spirit of the moment hit her.
Ho sognato questo posto da una vita e mi sembra di conoscerlo da un po'. Giusto qualche differenza qua e là. Io ti vedo già cantare con felicità, provando ogni giorno una via nuova. Nell'attesa impaziente di un ritorno, ci ritroveremo insieme più decisi. E desiderio dentro me che non cancello via. We're all the same. You just believe in what you can.
So that night, if anyone had told me what we were going to experience the next morning, I would have thought they were a little crazy. Because what we witnessed that next morning is probably one of the biggest treasures that I've been waiting to discover my entire life. And it happened right there before our eyes. When the early morning Italian sky performed one of the most amazing symphonies that I've ever dreamed of seeing. It's almost like the heavens were reminding us that, yeah, there is a God. And we were being reminded of it in such a beautiful way in Italy.